I mean, there's two different camps always. There's the defensive shooting camp, and there's the competitive camp. They usually don't like to mingle too well, I've noticed, because one will say something about the other, saying that it's not. I don't know why you do this or that, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. To me, shooting is shooting. Whether it's at paper or I hope. I've been very blessed since I've got out of the military that I've never had to use my firearm outside of a range. But I think that it all is shooting is shooting, plain and simple. You're not gonna just match, that term "rise to the occasion" that I hear a lot of people will say, "Well, I'll just rise to the occasion." Especially, it mostly comes from the defensive shooting side. To be truthful with you, oh, if something happens or pops off, I'm gonna do this, and that. And I said, "Well, have you trained to do that?" That's where my mind goes to. It's like, we will always revert back to our most basic level of training. If it's scream and run, we're going to scream and run. Truthfully, that's just how a game's played. Under stress and duress, you will always revert back to your most basic level of training. So if your basic level training scream run, you're going to run scream. But you can sit there and tell yourself in your head all the time, like, "Oh, I'm gonna be like John Wick and jump over chairs and flip over backwards and start shooting his guns and reload the gun like this over here." You can tell yourself that all day long, but if you don't train to that level, you're not going to do it. Just plain and simple, right? So, you get these two different ends of the spectrum, I guess you could almost put it. But it's kind of funny. They think they're on different ends, but they're really the same pool. Shooting is just shooting, whether it's paper or, unfortunately, it might have to be a humanoid person. I don't know. As you say, it's just um, that's all it is. And competitive, they'll say, well, in competitive shooting, you're just shooting for a score, this and that. I say, well, I'm trying to shoot as fast as possible, making good hits before bashing the other person, right? In a defensive situation, I'm trying to shoot faster than the other person and make better hits before they can make better hits on me. It's
Yeah.
similarly pretty much the same thing. Now, the idea of tactics and stuff, I hate that word, but the idea of tactics and stuff, yeah, they're different. I get that. One's a game and one's not. One you play for keeps, you know, and the other one you're playing a game, and that's understandable. But the end results are the same. The goal in mind when you're practicing training for shooting competitively is the same as if I was sitting there practicing a specific drill or a skill set at the range on the flat range, just being able to do a sub-second draw or shoot two over here, then one over there. Whatever you're setting yourself up to do, or you're doing. I don't really know a lot of drills. Like I said, I don't have a stack or book or an encyclopedia of drills and stuff out there. Um, but like I say, I have ways to understand how to use skill sets or work on specific skill sets. I do have that. I just don't have a specific drill like, oh, shoot the 10-5-2 drill or something. I don't know how to make up stuff now, but shoot this special drill or shoot this drill. It'll help you with that. Um, I don't really have, like I said, a stack of drills that people do, and especially my lessons, because they're very modular anyways, because somebody may pick something up faster and I need to move on to something else. And it's just little things like that, I guess. Or they may come and say, well, this is what I want to learn. Okay, cool. Well, this is what you want to get to. This is how we got to get to it. You know, um, and that has to do with like I said, the thing we talked about a minute ago, the understanding of how do um, I need to be able to do it so I can articulate it. That kind of full circle on that one, that part at least.
Yeah. So when it comes down to like our listeners and viewers that have never shot a match or have never attended a class, if they're thinking about doing something like that, then like how do they prepare? And how did you prepare?
I would, uh, number one, open mind. You got to have an open mind, right? Because you got to be willing to receive information. That's the number one goal. It's not a gun. It's not a special holster. It's not magical ammo. Nothing like that. You got to have that open mind, right? It's the same idea. Like, you got to want it. It's the bottom line. You just got to want it. So once you make your mind up that, yeah, I want to get training, we'll go into it with an open mind. You know, um, somebody I may think that I could do this or that. Be humble. I have to leave my ego at the door. Especially when I go, like say, when I get an opportunity and get to go and do classes of some sort. I just check my ego at the door. There's no reason to. I'll sit there and take every word that instructor's saying. I will try it their way, even if I've never done it. I don't agree with it. I will try it their way because you know what? It something else may click for me. I don't know. But have an open mind is the number one goal before I go into anything like that, so that I'm willing to receive information. Um, the next step, like I said, is do the vetting process. To be real honest with you, because there's a lot of people out there that don the hat of instructor or don the tab of instructor, um, and I'm sure they have good intentions for the most part, but they're like I said once again, there's always somebody better, obviously, but I think that you can get your money's worth by vetting is what it really is. Time and money. You know, make make good choices by vetting out that instructor or instructors or school or whatever the case may be. Um, and don't just ask one or two people. Ask a lot of people. You know, go and ask all sorts of questions too. Like, hey, how'd they treat you? Did you feel like you learned anything? You know, and then once you kind of figure out, okay, well, I like to go to school A, right? Then I'd sit down and I'd want to sit down and set goals for myself. So it's purpose. Everything's purpose driven. It needs to be purpose driven. So I'd sit down and say, well, I want to be able to do this eventually. Doesn't have to have that one lesson, that one class, but my goal is to get to this, right? So then I might say, okay, well, school A, B, and C can offer that to me. So then I'm gonna go to that. I'm gonna go to school B or whatever. Take class from said instructor, right? So I would have open mind, be willing to learn, vet that instructor or the school, and then set some goals for yourself. Because a lot of times we will stick with things when we see progress. When we see that we're doing good at something, we typically want to keep doing it. So set a goal in mind. Be reasonable and set one big goal you want, and then I would set some smaller goals along the way, like milestones. Right, like I talked about that to you. Like when I first started competing and everything for a match, I'd be like, "Well, my goal for this match is to draw the gun and see the dot." That's all I cared about. I didn't care how I finished. We had these small micro goals, and then one of them was I just don't want any procedurals because I started getting a bunch of those. And then and then another match was like I don't want any no shoots or something, things like that. It was just like these micro goals that helped me, put the puzzle together to make the big goal happen. So setting goals for yourself is good, and set them up there. It's okay. If they're out of reach, you can adjust them. They're not set in stone. I didn't walk up there and be like, if I don't reach this, then I quit. It's like, hey, I want to get to here, but if I only reach to here, okay, well, let's reevaluate. How do I now get to this little extra part of here to here, right? But at least be, happy and feel like you accomplished something when you reach these other stepping stones. So goals are important too. That's what I would do if I was starting all over, talking to brand new me and shooting. That's exactly what I would do.
Folks, I want to give a very special thank you to Top Gun Shooting Range here in Memphis, Tennessee. This is where I teach personally. You can shoot our fully automatic machine guns in a safe and controlled environment. We also have a barbecue restaurant right here in the building. Ferguson's Barbecue has 4.7 stars on Google reviews, and also it's the only public range in the Mid-South that allows you to draw from the holster. And personally, I believe that that's the best way for you to practice for handgun self-defense. Folks, I do not shill for anybody. I promote the causes that I believe in. And I believe in Top Gun Memphis. Come by and see us.